Hello, chocolate lovers! Hands down, the most requested recipe in my small repertoire of videos has been the Devil's Food chocolate cake that featured in my first top 5 video called 5 Moist Cake Tips That Work Every Time. So, my loyal fans including Alice, Bernadette and Jasmine, the wait is over, this is it.
Actually, it's probably the best option.
To find out what I do with this delectable morsel, stay tuned until the end. I was pondering the other day on why chocolate is so popular. Thinking. Could it be the rich roastiness of the cocoa? Or the sweet silk-like texture of the chocolate? Or could it be the addictive feeling of pleasure when you close your eyes and savor the complexity and little nuances of each little square? I say all of the above. Have at the ready your oil, sugar, eggs, vanilla essence, plain flour, unsweetened cocoa powder, baking soda, salt, full cream milk, and your hot espresso shot or instant coffee. We will be using a creaming method followed by a 2-part addition method. I'll explain more later. In your mixing bowl, add your oil, sugar, vanilla, and my eggs. I usually use large eggs or extra large eggs. Use your flat beater. Start it off on low. So you'll want to keep this on until it's pale, yellow and fluffy. At this stage, you can also turn it up. Guys, this is what it should look like when you cream it. So your next 5 ingredients will need to go through a sifter so it's thoroughly combined. Add your plain flour, cocoa powder. I actually use the Hershey's cocoa powder, unsweetened, of course. And it's not Dutch processed, it's just regular 100% cocoa powder. Baking powder, baking soda, and salt. Yes, salt goes into cakes. I'm a huge fan and advocate of having salt in a cake to balance out the sweetness. I generally sift the ingredients twice to make sure there's an even distribution of the leavening agents and cocoa powder. Now, we're going to start our 2-part addition method where we take our full cream milk and our dry ingredients and alternate adding it into the bowl until they're both all gone. I start with a little bit of milk in here just to get the mixture kind of loose and ready to take on some dry stuff. Use a cup measure or a large spoon to make it easier. Just take your spatula and scrape down your bowl. Make sure that you scrape often. The bowl. Scrape the bowl. And that should help a lot. This is one of the only batters that I mix flour for longer than, say, 30 seconds to incorporate it. But it works. Adding your milk with your dry ingredients, alternating, makes sure every bit of your dry ingredients mixes completely with all of the wet ingredients. You'll probably go through 3 additions of each ingredient. Now, for the last step, adding your espresso shot or instant coffee. It's coffee, so wouldn't you think that the chocolate cake would taste like mocha when it comes out? It doesn't. What it does is it makes it a little bit more rich and a little bit more chocolatey. I think the bean of the coffee and the bean of the cocoa just marry really well, and it gives it a nice robust taste, and you really can't taste the coffee in it. Do small splashes gradually until it's all gone too. And you'll want to make sure that your espresso is really hot, steaming hot.
There you go, look at that. Oh, sort of between a crepe and a pancake-like consistency.
Get your pans ready for batter. I use 3 of the 9-inch round metal tins that are lined on the bottom only.
But I don't grease the bottom and I don't grease the sides. For us, we don't need to do that. When they come out of the oven, we take a paring knife and we work it around the side and it just pops straight out. So just divide it equally. If I was doing this for the cake shop, I would actually be weighing each one to make sure that they are exactly the same.
While we sit back and wait for our cakes to bake, here's a brief interlude.
And now a brief discussion on the history of chocolate. Roll it. The Aztecs and even earlier, the pre-Columbian peeps were onto something when they discovered the cacao tree and turned its beans into a bitter drink. They believed it to have magical properties and even used it in rituals and sacrifices. They even traded the beans as currency. It was only until the Spanish arrived that it was made with a sweetener to make it a little more tasty and good enough for them to bring back to Spain, along with the other loot, and the rest is history.
Good! Now that your cake has cooled completely, now you can start filling the layers with icing. We use a creamy chocolate ganache for the inside filling and a chocolate fudge to cover the outside. Both recipes are in the comments below. That's what I call an Oreoed cake stage. For helpful hints on how to get your cake layers nice and straight, please watch my top 5 video on how to ice a cake. Here comes the part that a lot of bakers struggle with. I know I did for many years. See how I'm building a wall above the top layer of my cake? That's going to be the icing that helps us achieve our lovely flat top. Once you've finished, go around the whole cake with your soft ganache and drag sections of the icing wall back across the center of your cake top until the wall is no longer visible. Now we can pour our creamy chocolate fudge over our cake. At this stage, if your ganache isn't completely chilled and set, it's going to start coming off and mixing in with your fudge and ruining that smooth finish you worked so hard for. So if it starts to do that, stop and put it back in the freezer or the fridge for 10 more minutes. I love to make beautiful waves with my runny fudge. I do this by covering the length of my palette knife with a thin layer of fudge. Then, with my palette knife standing flush against the side of the cake, I wipe it on and slide the knife away from the cake. I like to create swooshy, curly patterns like a true vintage-styled cake because I think it makes it look simply elegant and delicious. This is like Betty Crocker meets Duncan Hines. Now for the piece de resistance and solving that mystery. I take my cake slice, heat it up slightly, then put ice cream over the top. It melts into the cake, and then I can take a sneaky, well-earned break. Yum!
What'd you think? If you liked my video, please click on the thumbs up icon. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and if you want to be notified, turn on your notifications. Oh, thank you subbies for asking for this recipe. Keep your requests coming and I'll try to get in as many as possible. And just a bit of admin here. All the recipe tutorials that I do will always have both the recipe and the method in the comments below. So if I forget to say something in my video, the answers are usually in there. If for some reason it doesn't make sense still, let me know and I'll try to fix it on the next one. I'll get much better with this with you guys helping me. Okay, see you later. Bye.